What are you looking at?
Hey guys, how are you doing? Happy Monday. Hope everybody's having a good start to the week. And yeah, so let's get started. So today, I'm doing a review on what has become quite probably my favorite TV show of all time, Battlestar Galactica. No, not the 1970s original, the reimagined one that Sci-Fi did a few years ago. This is the review of Season 1. I'm not going to do the review of the entire series. I'm going to do it season by season. So, yeah, let's get started. So the premise of the reimagined, what it's called the reimagined Battlestar Galactica, it's set in a time where humanity lives in 12 planets and live under a military alliance called the 12 colonies of Kobol. Kobol is the religion. It's sort of Kobol. There's no really way to describe it. Kobol is sort of the religion that the people in the colonies adhere to. So to make life on the colonies easier, the human race developed robots called Cylons. Essentially, they're the typical servant robots and stuff like that. And in typical servant robot fashion, the Cylons rebel against the human race, sparking a war between them. Eventually, an armistice was declared between humanity and the Cylons, and for 40 years there was peace. Then, in the course of a single day, the Cylons strike back, wiping out the 12 colonies of Kobol, and wiping out probably 99% of the human race. The survivors, which are roughly 50,000 people, joined together in a fleet in a fleet protected by the Battlestar Galactica, led by Commander William Adama. There is also a civilian government in place, led by President Laura Roslin, who was the Secretary of Education in the Colonial Government, but with the vast majority of the Colonial Government wiped out in the chain of command, she would be appointed president, which she is. So the refugee fleet must avoid Cylon detection to not only survive, but to look for the lost 13th colony of Kobol known as Earth. So here's what's great about Battlestar Galactica. The special effects are really great. I mean, this is for the first season, so for a science fiction television show, it packs some amazing special effects. The space sequences, the battle sequences are really well done. I mean, because this kind of took me by surprise, because the last science fiction show that I watched on television was Star Trek The Next Generation. So, another thing that's really great is the characters. One of the things that's so appealing about Battlestar Galactica is that while the space sequences are great and the battle sequences are fantastic, they're not the main focus of the story. What really drives the plot forward is the complex relationships and the complexity of the characters of the show, and how the events of the series put those relationships to the test. Whether it's relationship between the father and son, like William Adama was with his son Lee, husband and wife, two friends, two lovers, a superior officer and subordinate, and many other relationships are kind of highlighted in this series. And it's really fascinating because also the characters are so deep. Also, it's just they're really complex, really well done characters, and it's just fantastic. I mean, even someone who's like egotistical and full of themselves and crazy like Starbuck is also profoundly religious. You know, while William Adama seems like a father figure to his entire crew, he in fact was a terrible father and has a very awkward relationship with his son Lee. And just all these factors and all these depths and all these character flaws. Every character has their flaw. And that's what's just so fantastic. No character is entirely good or entirely bad. One of the things that's also really interesting also is the religious aspects of the show. From all the sci-fi I've watched, there really isn't a major emphasis on... Sorry, the lights are turned off. There isn't really a major emphasis on religion. I mean, yes, Star Wars does have the Force, and that could be kind of seen as sort of like a religious... the Jedis are seen as warrior monks, and the Force could be seen as something religious. I'm not going to hit that light now. It works when it wants to. So... But Battlestar Galactica, religion and faith is so central and integral to the plot. I mean, the central colonial government is united around a polytheistic religion, the gods of Kobol, which are also, if you guys want to know, they're the Greek gods. While the Cylons, even the Cylons who are machines, have their own religion. They believe in a god. And God wants them to do this, and they believe that God has a plan for them. But they don't really explain who that God is. They just say a god, like a monotheistic god. And it's really interesting to see like the emphasis that religion is put on the show. I think what it's highlighting is that that during great times of crisis, whether it is economic crisis, emotional crisis like this, a lot of people turn to faith and religion as a source of comfort. One of the things that's also really great about Battlestar Galactica also is James Callis and Tricia Helfer. James, well, like I said, the acting, the characters are great, and the acting is great. James Callis, who plays Dr. Gaius Baltar, and Tricia Helfer, who plays Cylon number 6, a humanoid Cylon, they steal the show every time. I mean, whenever they have their moment, whenever they're together, it's also intriguing and slightly hilarious. The actors have such great chemistry together, and it's just, and it makes their relationship really believable. And it just, the chemistry that they have together is just so fascinating and so really well. They have great chemistry together. It's just great. And one of the things that's really cool about Battlestar Galactica, it has tons of holy shit moments. Like any good TV show, Battlestar Galactica is full of these moments. Moments that you'll never see coming from a mile away. This keeps the show, the plot, and where the story is going, keeps it very fresh, because there's sometimes where you just go, holy shit. And that's another aspect with the show that I'll cover when I do the review of the later seasons, is that because they make characters that you care for. I didn't write this down, but it just kind of came up to me now. They make characters that you really care for. And it makes these, like I say, these holy shit moments so believable. So, it's so hitting close to home. Then it makes these moments believable. Another aspect, one of the things that separates Battlestar Galactica from most science fiction shows like Star Trek, is the dialogue isn't really bogged down by scientific mumbo-jumbo. I mean, there are a few scientific concepts and a few things like scientific concepts discussed, like the FTL drives, Dratus, which is the radar system. FTL is like faster than light, which is like light speed in Star Wars, or warp drive in Star Trek. But it's discussed in a way that's really kind of understood with one explanation. I mean, once you know what FTL drives is and it's explained and it's shown, you know what it is. You know what Tilium is, which is the ore, which is gas, essentially. And, it isn't bogged down by scientific mumbo-jumbo, for lack of a better word. And it makes the dialogue much easier to follow and much easier to get through with. So, in short, Galactica is a show that grabs you from the word go and refuses to let go. And believe me, like, once it does, you'll be glad it won't. I mean, it's really a great show. I mean, it got me in the first few episodes. And I can recommend it to anybody. I try recommending it to my friends or people I know, and they're not into it. And they're like, eh. But Battlestar Galactica has became possibly one of, if not my favorite show from the first few episodes of the first season. Just so you know where I'm at right now, I'm probably halfway through the third. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I'll try to do a list sometime this week. Again, don't know what the list is. You'll find out. Probably what I find out. So, alright guys, I will see you later. Alright, peace.